Today I'm heading over to Addington just to have a poke around. Before I left home I asked ChatGPT if there are any cafes with a bit of character, and the Oddfellows Café came up. It also mentioned that there's a big Oddfellows mural, so I thought I'd have a look. Finding the Oddfellows car park was easy enough, but I couldn't actually see the cafe. I wandered a little further, and instead of the cafe I came across a lovely little park with grass and a couple of benches. It seemed a bit out of place in what felt like quite an industrial area. Then I spotted an orange sign across the road, the same colour as the car park signs. That had to be it. The cafe is an old house that's been beautifully renovated, but the thing that caught my eye was the sign that said Scone Saturday.
Hello.
Unfortunately, I was a bit late and all the sweet scones had gone, so I had to settle for a cinnamon scroll instead.
Thank you. We'll bring it down. Okay, thank you.
While I was waiting, I looked around for the mural. It wasn't there. I did see a couple of pictures from Cambodia. The scroll arrived warm with butter, and while I was eating, I couldn't help but notice the timber floor. It was incredibly worn and full of character. Looking up, I saw the original tongue and groove ceiling, another reminder that the building had been around for a long time.
Is this Cambodia up here? Why do you have something of Cambodia here?
We Cambodians, so new owner Cambodian, so we just have to come.
We ended up chatting for about 5 minutes. He told me the new owners are from Cambodia. He said the previous owners had taken the Oddfellows mural with them because it was worth thousands of dollars. He also pointed out some of the old Oddfellows memorabilia was still around the cafe. There were photographs of the Washington Lodge, old meeting minutes, and a portrait of a grisly looking bloke. The writing underneath was hard to understand, but basically explained that the Oddfellows Lodge had been set up to support working class people and their families. So that's the Oddfellows Café. Even without the mural, I really liked it. I'd be happy to come back, especially if I got here early enough on a Saturday to try one of those sweet scones. And if coffee's your thing, you've certainly got a lot to choose from. The waiter mentioned that there was a lady on one of New Zealand's banknotes, and she was buried around the corner. Guess where I'm off to? Here I am at Addington Cemetery to see if I could find the grave of Kate Sheppard, the woman credited with helping make New Zealand the first country in the world to give women the vote. I thought it might take a while to find the grave, but right by the entrance was an information board showing where a number of well-known people are buried. It also explained that although we know her as Kate Sheppard, she was buried under the name of Lovell Smith after her second marriage.
Approaching the roundabout. It looks like I can go straight through though. So the grave site that I'm looking for must just be on the other side of this.
I thought I'd found it, but not quite. The grave was actually on the other side. One thing that stood out were the camellia trees beside the grave. White camellias became the symbol of New Zealand's women's suffrage movement, so it seemed a very fitting place to see them growing. As I wandered through the cemetery, I couldn't help noticing the number of damaged headstones. I don't know for certain, but I imagine a lot of the damage dates back to the Christchurch earthquakes. I suppose repairing damaged headstones wasn't going to be a high priority when there was so much else that needed to be rebuilt. As I left the cemetery, a couple of old cottages across the road caught my eye. Some were well looked after, while others had definitely seen better days. Then, opposite them, brand new townhouses were going up. It struck me again just how much Addington is changing, with old and new sitting side by side. As I got closer to busy Lincoln Road, I noticed another building. I thought it might have been an old church hall or perhaps even another cafe, but it turned out to be the front office for a second-hand dealer. Just around the corner I came across the Addington Jail. I heard it had been converted into accommodation, but I wanted to see what it had become. The signs surprised me because they were spelt with a J. In New Zealand, we normally spell jail with a G. The old gates were still there. Give you a pretty good idea of what the place must have been like. I went to go inside, but when I got there, there was a sign that said, "Please don't let the cat in," and a keypad, so I didn't know how I was ever going to get in, so I peered through the window. Then someone came to the door. No, just intrigued. I just wondered
what... Oh, come on then, you can have a look.
But the cat might come in.
No, it's okay.
It had a real backpackers feel, with notices advertising vehicles for sale and young people coming and going. How much to stay?
Oh, it depends which room do you want to. Do you have a private room or in the back or the dorms?
There was a mock cell. I even saw into the dorms. As I walked around, a couple of things struck me. One was how narrow the passages were, and the other one is this balcony up above where the guards could keep an eye on everything that was happening. I went upstairs. It was exactly as I expected. From there, I could see everything. In my mind, I was now a prisoner about to escape. Would I be able to get out unnoticed? But wait, what's this? It's a display about some of the prison's more notorious inmates. One name sounded very familiar, Ronald Jorgensen. He was convicted over the Bassett Road machine gun murders in Auckland. Years later, he was surprisingly released from prison, and his abandoned car was found near Kaikoura, but his body was never found.
I love this lock.
Now that I'd escaped from jail, it was time to reward myself with a hot chocolate. I went to the Addington Coffee Co-op. Their sign proudly says it's locally made, ethically traded and environmentally friendly. It seems to be pretty important in cafes these days. My first impressions: it was warm, it was large, and it was very busy. Straight away I could see that it was more than a cafe. There were books, mugs, puzzles, packets of tea, aprons, and all sorts of other things for sale. I lined up to place my order. Get a hot chocolate, please.
To have here, takeaway.
Have here. After ordering, I found a seat right under one of the heaters. Within a couple of minutes, I had to peel off layers. I loved the old-fashioned, well-worn cafe chairs, the tongue and groove ceiling, and the big windows letting in plenty of natural light. It all added to the atmosphere. Instead of a number for my order, I was assigned a flag. After a couple of minutes, my hot chocolate arrived. Without a doubt, it was the best hot chocolate I've had since coming back to New Zealand. Rich, creamy and exactly what I needed on a cold winter's day. In fact, watching this footage makes me want to go back for another one right now. As I left, I noticed that the flow of customers hadn't slowed down. It was nice to see the owner out and about chatting with customers and helping where he could. It felt like one of those places that becomes part of the local community. Over the road from the Addington Coffee Co-op, I spied the card merchant. I was intrigued. I nearly didn't bother, but I'm glad I did. The shop sold lots of board games, puzzles. The shelves were full of strategy games, and there was even a spirograph, which brought back a few memories. Then I noticed another room off to the side. It turned out that there was much more going on than I expected. People were buying and selling and trading collectible cards. It wasn't just a shop, it felt more like a community of enthusiasts. My next stop was tucked away in a small shopping area with a few interesting shops, including a Middle Eastern import store selling everything from costumes, cooking utensils to clocks and bedding. The cafe's name was Joy, and I noticed how quiet it was. After the hustle and bustle of the coffee co-op, this felt completely different. I ordered a steak and mushroom pie and then had a look around. The decor was interesting with a mix of old and new, but what really stood out was the peaceful atmosphere. It struck me as the sort of place where you could sit with a laptop for an hour or so, enjoy a cup of coffee and get a bit of work done. Well, that's my day in Addington. I came here just to have a poke around, and it turned out to be far more interesting than I expected. From an old Oddfellows lodge and Kate Sheppard's grave to a former jail, some great cafes, and probably the best hot chocolate I've ever had.